Okay. We got some good Vikings news today. We got some bad Vikings news today. Not sure which one to start with. I guess I'll just start with the good, and then I can wallow in the bad. The good news is Harrison Smith got his rumored, long awaited contract extension. Um, I forget what it'll take him for another 4 years on top of the one he's already got. So like through 2025. So he'd be, I don't know what age at that point, but it's basically it's a career finishing deal. And he's gonna get a lot of upfront money. I think almost all the money, like the guaranteed money in the contract, is upfront. That's why I've already naturally already seen Vikings fans bitching about it. They don't have much money on the books for Harrison Smith beyond, like, for sure 2022. So if he hits the wall really bad, regresses, and just, if he isn't a viable player, they can move on very easily, or he would retire or something. So there's really no risk involved. Um, and obviously they're moving a bunch of the money up, obviously, for this year. So that's, a lot of our cap that we have left is probably being chewed up by this. Um, but that was one of the two that we were waiting on, this one and Brian O'Neill. Who knows if they'll still do something with O'Neill. Um, but again, another big contract we're able to sign, even though supposedly we don't have any money because Kirk killed our cap and took all our money, and we can't keep anybody, even though we're now keeping yet another core player. Oh, the narrative. Um, the narrative that will never die. So obviously there's a question mark with Harrison Smith because he's not vaccinated. But I don't know. Maybe they even stuck something in the contract to, like, say he loses out on money or something if he misses time or something. I don't know. But just as a player, it's very good to have Harrison Smith in the fold for sure for the rest of his career as a Viking. Could be a Hall of Fame career. You never know. I mean, it's hard for safeties to get in. Um, so we'll see. I don't know if he would get in the Hall, but certainly Ring of Honor. But anyway, good to have him locked in. But now we got to go to the bad news because somehow Irv Smith Jr. has to have surgery for a meniscus injury. Um, don't know when the fuck this happened because he had no problems that I was aware of that I saw reported anywhere throughout any portion of camp, preseason. He just played the other night, caught a couple passes, looked very good, looked very explosive. He was interviewed on the sidelines with a face covered in face paint after he was out of the game. It certainly didn't seem to be in bad spirits. He was yucking it up, and, like, so I don't know what the fuck happened with this. Like, now it could go one of two ways. Could be just a brief time he's out. He's almost certainly, even if it's the easy fix version, he's still probably going to be out a week or two. Um, it could go. It could be, if it's a more major injury, it could be the fucking season. How the fuck does this happen? This is one of those where, like, injuries happen, but how does this injury happen? The injury didn't serious fuck didn't seem to have happened the other night, and it's less than 48 hours later. They didn't fucking practice or anything yesterday. Um, I assume they're doing some sort of practicing today, but this happened before, so I'm absolutely at a loss on this. I don't know where this injury supposedly happened, especially if it's something where it's, if this is were to be a season-ending version of this injury, where the fuck did this happen? Like, it's baffling, but it's unreal how, we're almost out of August. This has been a rough August in a lot of ways for the Vikings. Um, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I'm just baffled. Like, how does this happen with with an Irv Smith injury that just shows up out of nowhere when it seemingly did not fucking happen in a game? There hadn't been a practice. Like, is there a link between like excessive face paint and lower body injuries because he had his whole fucking face covered? Maybe like, I don't know, it dripped and like poisoned his legs. I don't know what the fuck happened. But that's gonna be a huge deal because we've also had Tyler Conklin out, and I'm not sure if he's going to be ready for week 1 either. So we're going to be relying on Brandon Dillon and Zach Davidson maybe as the other tight end, the guy who was flailing his arms up in the air the other night, letting a Kellen Mond pass sail over his head and be picked. I'm guessing there's going to be some waiver wire scouring. The Vikings haven't done any of their big cuts yet, and they don't have to. They don't have to for a couple days still, but they did a couple like minor ones yesterday. But you want us to be like, okay, keep being positive on these injuries. Like, okay, Jefferson, hurt his shoulder, but he's going to be fine. Darisaw had to have his other surgery thing, but he's going to be fine eventually. Adam Thielen gets hurt in a preseason game, he'll be fine. Are these fucking guys going to be fine? Because this is getting spooky. The vibes are getting spooky here with injuries. Because, and of course, I haven't even mentioned the Anthony Barr thing that persists and nobody seems to want to talk about or know anything about. It's like, part of the optimism with the Vikings is like, yeah, they got fucked by injuries last year, but those things tend to kind of be cyclical, and one year you might get screwed by injuries, the next year you don't. Well, maybe this is a 2-year fucking cycle, and we're gonna get absolutely fucked by injuries again. Because this is really, it's disheartening stuff to see that we're having injuries, major injuries. Like we're getting major injuries here to guys before the season even begins, and now with the Irv Smith one, it's like, well, where did this even occur? And I'm fascinated to find out when this fucking happened. But we'll keep our fingers crossed that it's just the minor version of this injury and the surgery, and he can be back in a couple weeks. But it's like you don't have gimmies these first. They have a tough schedule the first 4 weeks. Even I know people are chalking up the Cincinnati game as an easy win. I don't think it's an easy win. I mean, I don't think Cincinnati's going to be very good, but they've got a hot shot, second year quarterback. They got some players. They could do something. And then you got to play the Cardinals, who are certainly a playoff contender. So and then you got to come home and play Seattle and Cleveland. Like it's not like, even if all these guys are back within like a month, well, that first month could fuck you if you end up really struggling and end up like 1-3 or something. And I don't think they're gonna go 1-3. Like, I think they can end up maybe 3-1, but not if they keep having major injuries to key players like this. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Kirk has the right idea. Just shield everybody in plexiglass, but not for COVID, just to keep them from getting injured mysteriously out of nowhere, like Irv Smith did. I just don't get it. It's really fucking frustrating because it's like the injuries. There's nothing you can do. Guy's hurt or he's not. If he's hurt, there's nothing you can do about it. Except play through it in some cases, but some things you can't. So We'll see. I hope this works out where he's just out a week or two, and maybe Conklin's ready to go. I think if Conklin's ready to go, then we can make do for a couple weeks with like Conklin and Dillon and whoever else. Maybe, I mean, obviously like your third tight end doesn't get a lot of work anyway. But man, it's frustrating. Can we just have nice things?